Chapter 2, When Gods Went to War, the Celestial Coup that Created the Universe. 1. The War of Titans versus Olympians, the Celestial Coup. The transition from a silent void to a structured universe was not marked by peace, but by a symphony of screams and the clashing of divine sinews. As recorded in Hesiod's Theogony, the reign of the primordial sky Ouranos was one of tyranny and suffocating darkness. He hid his own children, the monstrous Hecatonkires and the Cyclopes, within the dark recesses of Gaia, the earth, causing her immense agony. It was Gaia who forged the jagged flint sickle, and whispered the seeds of rebellion into the heart of her youngest son, Cronus. With a single, cold stroke, Cronus emasculated his father, severing the bond between sky and earth, and ushered in the age of the Titans. Yet, Cronus became the very monster he sought to overthrow. Haunted by the prophecy that his own offspring would eclipse him, he committed the ultimate act of paternal cruelty. Swallowing his children, Hestia, Demeter, Hera, Hades, and Poseidon, as they were born from the womb of Rhea. The air of the world grew thick with the grief of a mother, until Zeus was born in secret. Hidden in the whispering caves of Crete and nourished by the divine goat Amalthea, Zeus matured into a stormbringer of unmatched ferocity. The ensuing conflict, the Titanomachy, was a decade-long apocalypse that tore the firmament asunder. On one side stood the Titans, ancient pillars of raw nature. On the other, the young Olympians, emboldened by the thunderbolts forged by the freed Cyclopes. When the war reached its zenith, the earth groaned under the weight of the hundred-handed giants, who hurled 300 boulders at once, blackening the sun. Zeus, rising in his terrifying majesty, unleashed the full heat of his lightning, setting the forests ablaze, and causing the very oceans to boil. The defeat of the Titans was not merely a military victory. It was the triumph of order over raw force. The defeated Titans were cast into the bronze-walled prison of Tartarus, a place so deep that an anvil falling from heaven would take 9 days to reach the earth, and another 9 to reach its lightless floor. Thus, the throne of Olympus was established, not through inheritance, but through the cleansing fire of revolution. 2. Snorri's Aesir and Vanir, the divine conflict. The genesis of the Norse gods was a saga written in blood and ice, far removed from the marble halls of the south. As the primeval cow Audhumla licked the salty rhinestones, there emerged Buri, a being of great beauty and stature. His grandson, Odin, along with his brothers Vili and Ve, could no longer endure the chaotic presence of the frost giant Ymir. In a celestial fratricide that redefined existence, they slew the giant, and from the torrents of Ymir's blood, an entire race of giants drowned, save for one who escaped in a hollowed-out tree trunk. The brothers then tore Ymir's body apart to carve the world. His flesh became the soil, his unbroken bones the mountains, and his skull the dome of the sky, held aloft by 4 dwarves representing the cardinal directions. However, the divine order was fractured from its inception. The Aesir, gods of war and runic wisdom led by Odin, soon encountered the Vanir, masters of fertility and the esoteric magic known as cedar. The conflict ignited when the Aesir attempted to kill the Vanir sorceress Gulvig, piercing her with spears and burning her thrice. Yet she was reborn each time. The resulting war, the first in the world, shattered the walls of Asgard. Spear clashes echoed through the 9 realms until both sides, weary of the stalemate, struck a sacred truce. They spat into a communal cauldron to create the wise Kvasir, and exchanged hostages. The noble Njord and his children joined the Aesir, while Mimir went to the Vanir. This synthesis of warrior spirit and natural magic created the unified pantheon that would eventually face the twilight of Ragnarok. 3. The emergence of Ra from the primeval mound. In the mystical silence of the Egyptian dawn, as described in Wallace Budge's Book of the Dead, the universe was a lightless, watery expanse. Within this liquid abyss, the spirit of Adam Ra stirred, fueled by his own burning desire for existence. By uttering his own secret name, he rose as a golden phoenix onto the Benben, the first mound of solid earth. This was the first coming forth by day. Finding himself alone, Adam Ra performed an act of self-begetting. He spat forth Shu, the god of air and dry winds, and exhaled Tefnut, the goddess of moisture and rain. This divine pair gave birth to Geb, earth, and Nut, sky, who were initially so entwined in love that there was no room for life. By the command of Ra, Shu intervened, thrusting his hands upward to lift Nut's star-speckled body into a permanent arch over Geb. In the space created by this celestial separation, the great Ennead was born. Osiris, the lord of vegetation; Isis, the weaver of magic; Set, the storm of the desert; and Nephthys, the guardian of the tomb. Thus, the Egyptian pantheon arose as a balance between the fertile silt of the Nile and the scorching chaos of the sun. 4. Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva, the Hindu Trimurti. The birth of the Indian gods, as woven into the vast tapestries of the Ramayana and Mahabharata, is not a singular event, but a rhythmic pulsing of cosmic consciousness. As Vishnu lay in a yogic trance upon the thousand-headed serpent Shisha, floating on the milk-white ocean of eternity, a single lotus bud blossomed from his navel. Within the golden petals of this lotus sat Brahma, the four-faced architect of form. Under the guidance of the Supreme Spirit, Brahma began the arduous task of chanting the Vedas, his breaths becoming the 4 ages of the world. Yet, this creation was incomplete without the forces of preservation and dissolution. Vishnu assumed the role of the preserver, destined to descend into the mortal realm in various avatars whenever the scales of Dharma were tipped toward darkness. Opposing and yet complementing this was Shiva, the Mahadeva, who emerged from the pillar of fire. Shiva's role was the most terrifying and necessary, the Tandava, a dance of destruction that would eventually dissolve the universe into ash, ensuring that the slate of existence was wiped clean for Brahma's next creation. This trinity, the Trimurti, represents the eternal cycle of birth, life, and death. 5. The genealogy of spirits in Turkic lore. As meticulously documented in Bahattin Öcal's Turkish mythology, the birth of the Turkic gods is a hierarchy of light descending from the Kök Tingri, the infinite blue sky. Before the sun and moon took their places, the world was a shadowless sea. Tingri, the uncreated source, felt the loneliness of the void. From the white foam of the waves rose Ekeana, the White Mother, a shimmering spirit of wisdom who whispered the command to create. Tingri then brought forth Kairahan, the supreme lord of the 17 heavens, who became the father of the light-bearing gods. Among his sons was Uljan, the master of the stars, who sat upon a throne of gold. However, the shadow was born alongside the light. Erlik, the first created spirit, grew arrogant in his power, attempting to rival Tingri's majesty. For his pride, Erlik was cast down through the layers of the earth, becoming the lord of the underworld. To maintain the equilibrium, Umayana was born from the radiant rays of the sun, descending to earth as a protector of life. The Turkic pantheon thus emerged as a genealogy of spirits, where the mountains, forests, and waters were living kin, born from the breath of the eternal sky.